Well. Good Saturday morning. Welcome to Reinvention Saturdays. My name is Benjamin Kamoye, the host of the Reinvention Saturdays, and I'm delighted to welcome you here one more time for a time of learning, for a time of growing, for a time of reinvention. The purpose of these 30 minutes every Saturday is to serve you because you are your most appreciable asset. You are loaded and coded with value. And every time you attend a time of growing yourself and developing yourself, you only increase that value and you get better and better with time. And so Reinvention Saturdays is just about honoring that there's greatness within you, honoring that there's genius within you, and just really talking about how do we bring out the genius that is within you? How do we bring out the greatness that is within you? And so thank you so much for all of you who are joining us this morning. My name is Benjamin Kamoye. For those of you who are watching for the very first time, my name is Benjamin Kamoye, and I'm gifted as a creative communicator. I express those gifts as a coach, as a speaker, and as a trainer. My passion is in helping leaders reinvent themselves intentionally for impact and income. Always, the impact and income conversation requires three things. It requires that you master your brilliance. There's a philosophy that we have here that you already have greatness within you. And so master that brilliance and then manifest that brilliance out into the world. There's got to be someone who uses up and requires the skills that you have. And so you master that brilliance and then you manifest it out into the world. And after you manifest it into the world, there's obviously a conversation of monetization, which is earning your worth. And so you monetize that genius out into the world. We call it brilliance. And so Reinvention Saturdays is just about serving you and helping you to manifest that brilliance out into the world for impact and for income. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're talking about dancing on a shifting carpet. Dancing on a shifting carpet. And the question is, how do you thrive? How are you going to thrive in a changing world? Thrive and remain relevant in a changing world. That's what we're going to talk about today. And so to get us started, what I want us to really think about is, how much have you been affected positively or negatively by the changing world that we are living in? How much have you been affected by the changing world that we are living in? Think about that. And the next question that I want to ask you is, if you think about how you saw yourself in those moments of change, if you think about how you entered into those moments of volatility and change, how did you do? Were you outmatched by the complexity, or were you like bulletproof? You're ready to go. You're fully resourced. You've got all the answers. I mean, there's nothing that can come at you that you're not resourced to navigate and handle. How did you match to the complexity? How did you match to the complexity? And that's the question that I want us to dive into today and pull out some strategies for thriving and remaining relevant in a changing world. Yep, thriving and remaining relevant in this changing world. Pandemic has really demonstrated the extent to which the complexity is out here into the world. And it's true. And I really empathize with the fact that most people have been really hit hard by the pandemic and the effects that it's had on people's lives, working, and ability to continue to have an impact and ability to continue to earn an income. I mean, there are many people who are really struggling through these times, and so we don't take it for granted that the world is shifting. But I don't want us to dwell there and really just kind of talk about how the world is shifting and how it's changing and how it's getting whatever it's getting. I think for us as reinvention students, that should not really be where our focus is. Our focus should be on ourselves to ask the question, how equipped am I to navigate the changing world? How equipped am I to ride this wave of complexity, never to be tossed under that wave? And should I be tossed under that wave, quickly have developed the skills to come up to the surface and move forward? What are those skills that are going to help you thrive and remain relevant in this changing world? There are three things that I believe that you must master. There are three things that you must master if you are going to thrive in this changing world. And the first one is reading the times. It's reading the times. The second one is mastering your skill set. We're in a new economy. We are in a gig economy. Now more than ever, the world has opened up and you can hire services from anyone, anywhere, in any part of the world. So we're in a gig economy. You are CEO of you. You are the one who's got the skills and abilities, and the world needs that and your ability to provide that. And we're going to talk about that in a short while. The skill set piece is the second piece of that puzzle. And then the third one is the mindset. The third one is the mindset. And I'm going to be talking about two mind frames. And I thought about this in another session, two mind frames of masters that are going to help you navigate this changing world. As a matter of fact, not just survive, but thrive in this changing world and remain relevant significantly. So let's begin with the first one, reading the times. Reading the times. That's the first one. In a couple of years just before the pandemic, the US military had looked into the future. There's an Institute of the Future. The US military had looked into the future and they began to describe the world that we are living in and were going to be stepping into and living into as a VUCA world. It's a VUCA world. And what does VUCA mean? VUCA is an acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. In management conversations and in leadership conversations, you probably have heard this word or this acronym tossed around. But I'm also aware that in many places that I've gone to, and as I coach executives and work with senior managers, sometimes I ask them, what does VUCA mean? And sometimes 60-70% of the people in the room don't understand what VUCA is. And so let me unpack this for you. VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Again, the US Military Institute of the Future working together, looking into the future and saying, what is the world that we are going into? This world is volatile. In other words, most of the times, as we've already described this, you've heard many times people talk about technology is the big disruptor. And because technology steps into a place, simplifies the ways things are done, and there's just so much rapid change in that industry. You know what M-Pesa, a local Kenyan story, did to the banking industry? Shifted that landscape completely. I mean, banks were thinking strategies into the next 10, 15 years. The moment M-Pesa, the mobile platform, stepped into the scene, people went back into the boardroom. There was volatility in the financial sector. You know what Uber did to taxis. You know what the Airbnb, did to the hospitality industry. Now with your own little room somewhere, you can begin to compete with a room at the Marriott or at any other hotel, globally and in the country. That volatility means there's a rapid change happening into the world. We're talking about reading the times. If you're going to dance on this shifting carpet, you've got to read the times. And these are volatile times. These are volatile times. Amazon is not worried about Facebook. Facebook is not worried about Twitter. Twitter is not worried about Snapchat. Amazon, by the way, is not even worried about Alibaba. They're not even worried about Jumia. Amazon is worried about some little kid who is in their garage right now thinking about how they're going to kick Amazon out of business. And there is a possibility that such a thing is going to happen. That there will be a small little kid on the block that's just going to change everything. Look at what TikTok has done to YouTube and to Instagram. Instagram literally shifted from being a photo-only app to being a video app. You knew Instagram was for photos. But look at the volatility. This is a young kid somewhere coding some new app that's going to just come and hit the market in a way that's going to change the landscape completely. And in your industry as well, there's somebody who's baying for your blood, seeking to beat you and to be ahead of you and to be your greatest competition. Are you ready for that moment? Because that volatility, the V, brings us into the U, the uncertainty. What is tomorrow going to hold? I don't know. Because so many things could shift and I have no idea what's going to happen. If you think about the Kenyan story right now, we're going into an election year. And we know election years have got a lot of politics. There's a lot of tribal politics. There's, businesses hold back their money. Government is pushing money towards, campaigns and elections and everything. And there's just a shift. There's just a bit of a shift in just the economics of our country. And for most business people, they normally say, we don't know how it's going to go. Right now, our politics is being really tribalized. There's a lot of hate speech going on. You don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to do a 2007? I pray not every day. But we're talking about reading the times and knowing that it's a VUCA world. There's volatility, and that volatility creates uncertainty. What does that mean then? It means that then there's a lot of complexity. This could happen and that could happen and then this could happen, and then if you combine all these things together happening, we don't even know what's going to happen. And that's the complexity as it sets in. There's complexity. If you remember the pandemic, which then hit the entire world, we'd all be talking about technology and your industry is good. You've not been affected by technology. Everything is going on well. Good. The pandemic came. Boom. Stay in your house, everybody. Schools shut down. Transport shut down. Planes grounded. Hotels closed. Nobody's working. We all came virtual. Had you prepared for that moment? Because these are the times that we're living in. And that complexity is normally described as when the feedback loops cannot be analyzed. That is complexity. That is complexity. In other words, I can't read the patterns. I can't hack this. It's a VUCA world. It's a VUCA world. And as a result then of that volatility and the uncertainty and the complexity, there's a lot of ambiguity. Ambiguity is, I don't know whether I should go this way or I should go this way. If you think about a signpost that's telling you go to New York and another one telling you go to France, think about standing there and you've got all these signposts saying go this way, and you stand there at that sign and you're like, where is Nairobi? All these signposts are telling me Nairobi, 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 Nairobi. Where is Nairobi? That is ambiguity. I don't even know if I go this way, am I going to get there? Is it this way? Is it that way? Is it that way? Which way is it? Reading the times is going to help you to dance on this shifting carpet. You will not be caught off guard because somebody's pulling one end of the carpet. And by the time they are pulling it, you can see them pulling it. You can see them pulling it. We're talking about dancing on a shifting carpet, remaining relevant and thriving in a changing world. What do you need to do? And we've talked about the first big piece. You have to read the times. We're living in a VUCA world. And so living in a VUCA world requires something from you. It requires you to have a vision of the future that you want. It requires you to have understanding. I'm giving you the antidote for VUCA. While we talked about V is volatility, for you to navigate, you need to have the vision. Where am I going? Where are we going? Because there's so much happening. You easily even lose your picture. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where I'm now headed. Your head has been spun around. And when you come back into shape, you want to still ask yourself, where am I going? That's where I'm going. That's the picture, my ideal future. Using the faculty of imagination and tapping into that future place and saying, that's still where we're going. And in the presence of uncertainty, which is the U in VUCA, the antidote is understanding the times, understanding what is happening and how do I navigate what's going on, understanding the times. And in a space of complexity, you seek clarity. You seek clarity. You seek clarity, not certainty. Bob Johansen from the Institute of the Future said the future will reward clarity and punish certainty. The future will reward clarity and punish certainty. What does that mean? It's a VUCA world. And if you think that being certain that this is the way things are going to go and I have my thing etched in stone, I'm certain that this is what's going to happen, because we're living in a changing world, you will be punished for holding onto that certainty, for holding onto that certainty. Rather, clarity will reward you. Clarity will reward you. And clarity is always coming back to your center and saying, what am I seeking to create? What impact do I want to have out here into the world? And when you stay in the space of this is the clarity, this is the picture, this is the image, this is where I'm going, the path may change, but the vision will remain the same. The future will reward clarity and punish certainty. And so living in a VUCA world means that you have clarity. You have clarity that comes from understanding and that comes from vision. Now, let's go to the last A. We're talking about reading the times, dancing on a shifting carpet. The A is agility. My friends, you've got to be agile. You've got to be flexible. You've got to be bendable. You cannot be rigid if you are going to thrive and remain relevant in this changing world. I've already talked about the fact that there's somebody in a garage somewhere baying for your blood, coming for your industry, coming for your skill set, coming for your job to kick you out of it. Even sometimes for half the pay because of the levels of desperation. So how do you thrive and remain relevant? How do you continue to grow and develop instead of shrinking and cutting back in this changing world? Understand it's a VUCA world. It's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and it's ambiguous. But the antidote for that is also that it's a VUCA world, that you have the vision, you have understanding, you have clarity, and you remain agile. That's why Bob Johansen said that the future will reward clarity and punish certainty. Certainty is I'm stuck in my ways. I've already cut my path. This is it. I'm going to do this. It's either this or this. No, it won't be, and you will be punished for that. But understanding that, hey, what does the market require from me right now? It needs for me to be in this shape. Tomorrow I'm going to be in that shape. I'm responding to the times. I'm moving in the flow. And that requires you to have agility, which takes us to the second big piece of the puzzle for you to remain relevant in this changing world, which is mastering your skill set. Mastering your skill set. If there's anything that has happened in this time that we're living in right now, is the fact that it's a new economy. Most people have been laid off. Most organizations, and we're working with some of them, have said, we actually realized during that COVID pandemic that we could actually get our operations done with about 15 people. The entire workforce of about 60 people that were in the organization were laid off. Think about that. Some of you are probably experiencing that right now. You are laid off. And it's tough, I know. And I hope that during today's session, really, you could pick out an idea, some awareness, some insight, a wisdom, ahas, that will begin to move you in the direction as you navigate the reinvention. Because what I'm about to share with you here is what I have seen and continue to witness as the silver bullet in these changing times. And it is mastering your skill set. It is knowing who you are. It is knowing what is within you. It is knowing the patterned program of your potential. Oh, let me say that again. It is understanding the patterned program of your potential. I've taught on these Reinvention Saturdays before that a bean seed has a programmed pattern. So when it goes into the soil, it doesn't know any other beat. It knows the beat of how to become a bean. and it produces beans. A maize seed, the same. An apple seed, same. A pineapple, the same. An avocado, the same. There is a programmed pattern within every seed. And we talked about this in another session as well here on Reinvention Saturdays, that your greatness is like a seed. And there is a programmed pattern within that seed. And you produce after your own kind. Now, the environment that you're in determines the quality of seed that you provide. And the environment here for us as human beings means our ability to sharpen our skill, our ability to master our craft, to be the best at what you do, to be unbeatable, to be irreplaceable. That is going to help you to thrive in these changing times. Because we're in a gig economy. This didn't start with the pandemic. It was accelerated by the pandemic. The gig economy had already started. The U economy had already started. That you are an enterprise, that you are a provider of a certain service that comes from your resourcefulness and your skill sets. I'm sure if you go on Google right now and type skills that will be irrelevant by 2020 and 2021, you'll see a whole list of skills that will no longer be relevant. Robots and machines will either take it up, artificial intelligence will take it up, but there are skills that will continue to be needed. And that's what I'm talking about. You mastering your skill set so that while the market may look like it's shrinking, your boss fired you, your environment, 3 or 4 industries in your area of expertise have closed. As you get good at your craft, you step into the global marketplace. While there's a shrinking local pie, you step into the global expanding pie. I say this not to impress you, but I do have coaching clients in India, in almost 60% of the countries in Africa. I've got coaching clients in the US, got coaching clients not only in my city, not only in my hometown. Matter of fact, I think there are fewer clients in my local hometown, in my country, in comparison to the clients that I have outside of our boundaries, outside of our borders. And I say this to impress upon you this idea that there is an expanding global pie. It may look like there's a local shrinking pie, there's an expanding global pie. And your ability to master your skill set and really know what it is that you do well is going to help you. Now, I created a 7-day challenge, that really helps you anchor this idea. What is your identity? What is your assignment? And what impact do you want to have? That's the clarity that I'm talking about in the Vuca world, reading the times, having clarity to respond and thrive in this changing world. And the 7-day challenge is just a videos that I developed, 7 minutes for 7 days. You get one video every day that is 7 minutes long for 7 days. It's a 7-day challenge. And I have got worksheets that I've developed for you and made that available. And all you need to do is really just go in and see that worksheet and begin to do the work. I ask you deeper questions that go into ask, what are your skill sets? What is it that you want to create out here into the world? What is it that you want to see happen? What do you stand for? Because you are an enterprise. And in the gig economy, you gotta get good. You've got to get good. Most people are average. And if you want to really get ahead of the pack, if you don't want a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old in their garage, in their basement, in their house with a small old laptop, kicking your competition and throwing you out of the business, and you getting laid off, and your family and those who depend on you can no longer get the things that they were getting from you because you no longer are relevant. You've been laid off. Competition, a new generation has come into the marketplace and upskilled what it is that you used to do. You've got to master your craft. You've got to be the best in the industry. You're sought after. You earn your worth. And that requires you to master yourself and master your brilliance and master that to manifest it. I'd like you to invite you right now to send an email if you haven't done that. If this is your first time watching this, send an email to reinvention@kamoye.com. Reinvention@kamoye.com. Let me put it out here for you right now. Reinvention@kamoye.com. And what I want you to do is I want you to write an email and say, hey, give me the 7-day challenge. Give me the 7-day challenge, because what I know is that these are the ideas that I used to develop myself. These are the ideas that I used to master my craft. These are the ideas that I used to navigate the changing world. Because in 2020, I had lined up coaching, speaking, training, travel. And the pandemic happened. I had just come back from Ethiopia. I was actually in Ethiopia and I'm seeing people in masks and I'm like, what is this new vibe? And I'm also wearing a mask and I hadn't understood it. We were just stepping into the COVID dynamic. And immediately what I noticed in that moment is that the world shut down, businesses closed, clients cut their training budget, things changed significantly, but I continued to thrive. I continued to remain relevant. And I say this with all humility and giving glory to God, because I know that 2020 was a tough time for most people. 2020 was a very successful year for me. 2020 was, I smashed it, and I just was riding this wave, because leaders then realized, my goodness, I need a coach, I need a guide. I was set up online. I had courses that I had developed. I was ready to support people. I was coaching on demand, and I was there. My shop was open, and I was serving, and I was helping, and I was reaching out to people, and I was saying, I have a course for you. It's for free. Take it here. Here's my Reinvention Saturday. Join me. Do you have a question? Reach out to me, as I am doing right now, and saying, send an email to me, reinvention@kamoye.com. I just want to serve you. I'll give you the 7-day challenge, and after the 7 days, I'm going to join you for a Q&A, just to really listen to you directly and say, what is it that is becoming clear for you? What are you becoming aware of? What will you do to move next? How do I shape myself for the next steps? Let's have those conversations. So we've talked about the two big pieces. And the two big pieces here are, number one, master and read the changing times. It's a Vuca world, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. The antidote is vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. That's very clear. We've got that. And we've also talked about the second one, which is the skill set. It's a U economy. You are your most appreciable asset. And as you master your craft, you become irreplaceable. You become, you become indispensable. We talked about the law of compensation. And we said in the law of compensation, which governs how much you earn, the law of compensation says how much you earn is governed by three things. Number one, the need for the thing. You didn't create the need. There's a need in the market. Good. Number two, your ability to do it. Okay. Can you do it? Bingo. Number three, this is the game changer. How difficult it is to replace you. Like if you're the person, the best of the best of the best, you can quote your fees and people are going to have to look for the money, which means you're going to be working with those who have it, who are the kings in the industry. And they don't look at the quote. They just say, can you fix this? Come and do it. They don't look at the invoice. They look at the result. And that is going to bring a big fortune for you, which is what I want for you. Impact and income. Bingo. Let's go to the third one. And I'm going to land here. We just have about a minute. Give me about 5 more minutes for you who have joined in. Thank you so much. The third one is mindset. Talked about master the world, skill set, mindset. Mindset is because your mind is the divine center of operation. Your mind is the divine center of operation. And as we run and navigate in this world right now, it's a complex, changing world. What you want to have is you want to be developed to a place where you are playing to win, not playing to not to lose. There are two mindsets here, playing to win, and there's another mindset here, which is playing, but not to lose. Playing not to lose. I did share at length when I taught about this, so I won't go into this. I'm going to ask you to jump onto my website and grab this course. It's called Mind Frames of Masters. Mind Frames of Masters. I talked about in depth the playing to win mind frame and the playing not to lose mind frame. I do not have at my command the time to go into all that, but I request you to jump into my chat and really get that. Thank you so much. Mind frames of masters. Mind frames of masters. That's where you want to go and get that. And so operating from this playing to win mind frame means that then you are able to stay focused on the vision, focused on the big picture. My mentor calls it hold your image. That's where I want to go. That's the income number. That's the impact that I want to have. That's the legacy that I want to leave. And it's clear. And with that clarity, playing to win means that you're always staying in question of how can I create that outcome? And so you wake up every day, find the world is upside down from what you knew it was yesterday. The strategies of yesterday are not going to work. And then you begin to ask yourself, so in today's scenario, for me to get there, what is one step that moves me closer to my dream? What is one thing that I can do that takes me closer to my dream? Understanding that positions you to receive insights from Spirit, from God, to navigate the world that we're living in. Remember, we talked about this in another session. Hey, that we are spirit beings. We are spirit beings, and we live in a physical body, but we've been gifted with an intellect. And this intellect is the part of us that connects with God. It's the part of us that connects with the other than conscious world and taps into ideas. Let me ask you, where do ideas come from? This idea that normally comes and we illustrate it using a bulb. Oh, I got an idea. Whoa, yeah. Where does that come from? Where does that come from? And you know that stuff didn't come from you. You know it landed. You almost could feel it hitting you like, boom, yeah, I got it, yeah. What? Oh my, wow, how come I hadn't thought of that? Because you weren't thinking of that. Because it's not from you. It's something that someone has handed to you and said, here, take it. And it, oh my goodness, here it is. This is the thing. This is the missing puzzle. And for us to remain relevant in this changing world and thrive and really be ahead of it, having big impact and big income, we're going to have to master. We're going to have to master how to work with the intellectual faculties, how to work with spirit. Because through the power of intuition, and again, I talked about this in detail, the 6 powers of man, find it in my courses, kamoya.com. You're going to find all the courses there. Click all courses. You'll find 6 powers of man. I break it down for you in there. The 6 powers of man are about you tapping into the intellectual. We've been taught just how to interact with our physical world. The senses of smell, taste, touch, hear, and smell. Did I mention all of them? 5 senses. Yeah, you know them. Yeah, but we don't know how to work with the 6 powers, the 6 intellectual faculties: reason, memory, imagination, intuition, perception, and will. We don't know how to work with those. And those are the tools that you need to play to win. Because everything in your circumstances and conditions saying, don't go, don't spend, don't act, don't do. But when you are operating from a playing to win mind frame, you also begin to embrace an opulent mode of thought that sees you as a receiver, not as a source. You're not a source. You're a receiver. And as you seek to create, you're receiving materials and resources. You're a contractor. You've been subcontracted to build a house. And when materials are going down, you just call the owner and say, hello. I need 60 bags of cement. I need 2 trucks with sand and 4 trucks with stones. And I need. And guess what the supplier does? Boom. They ship it right into your construction site. Now, this is a completely different way of looking at things. And I'd love to work with you to really help you master how to play to win and make that your lifestyle. You see, I didn't realize that many times I was playing, but I was playing not to lose. I was calibrating my response and action to the changing world based on things that had happened in the past, losses, failures, and disappointments. And I was calibrating my response saying, let me just do enough so that I don't fail like I did, so that I don't get hurt like I did, so that I don't fall like I did. And by doing that, I was regressing. The treadmill of life was moving faster than I could keep pace because I was playing not to lose. But when I'm playing to win, I'm in a frame of mind to receive ideas, to work with. You know very well there are times you've been told, try this. And you say, what? Huh? Am I not going to fail? And you begin to argue in that moment. You're operating from a lower level of awareness. And what I want to do, as I ask you to really spend some time and reach out to me, send an email to reinvention@kamoya.com. I want to work with you. I want to help you. This is stuff that I'm living. This is my daily life. And I want to serve you because what really pains me is to see highly gifted, high capacity people with potential suffering, taken advantage of by the system, languishing in poverty, unable to just take care of themselves, take care of their families. And they're just wondering, what do I do? I hate that. It was my narrative. I had so much potential and I was so broke. So I know that, I feel that, and it's my purpose to do this. I'm here to serve you. Send an email to me, reinvention@kamoya.com. For those of you who are watching me on YouTube, please, if you haven't subscribed, support this channel and subscribe. Just subscribe and then do something. Share this message. It should go to someone. It should somehow find its way to your uncle, cousin, auntie, brother, nephew, sister, somebody, dad, mom, because we all want to thrive in this world. Who wants to struggle? I don't want to. And so I'm reaching out to coaches. I'm growing myself. I'm developing myself. I have a coaching call every week with my coach because I'm building leaders. And I want to know, what do I do better? How do I do it differently? If you've been watching us from the very beginning when we started, you've seen there's tons of improvement as we go along. And there's more that we're doing. And so send an email. Don't sit back there and be like, should I not? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious that you're coming on Saturday to watch Reinvention? If it's your first time, I can let you go. Because you're probably, let me check this guy out. But we talked about tons of content that I have available for you. We've talked about mind frames of masters, and we've talked about the 6 powers of man. You want to go in there. And we've also talked about something about your skill set. And I did talk about, from skill set to expertise. I talked about that. I talked about from mystery to mastery, how you really become a master, because I know it. I know it from my own journey and experience. You gotta get good if you're gonna earn the kind of income that you want to earn. You gotta get good. So join me. Send an email to reinvention@kamoya.com, and my team members are gonna reach out to you. And at the end of the 7-day challenge, which is just the thing I'm asking you to do, 7 days only, for 7 minutes only a day, for 7 days, each day, day 1, day 2, day 3, 7 minutes, and a worksheet to really read and reason and think and do some little work beforehand. And then I'm meeting with you for 90 minutes. 90 minutes. It's a private Q&A in a small group. We answer the questions of, how do I navigate? This is where I am right now. How do I go there? I want to answer those questions for you because I've taken that journey. All right. I'm landing here right now. Thank you so much for giving me an extra 10 minutes. Today, we've talked about dancing on the shifting carpet. How do you thrive and remain relevant in a changing world? And we've talked about, number 1, read the times. It's a Vuca world. It's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. See the industry, understand it. And then the antidote is vision for volatility, understanding for uncertainty, clarity for complexity, and then agility for ambiguity. It's a changing world, okay? Number two, get clarity, because the future will reward clarity and punish certainty. Don't say, I'm very sure. You are sure of nothing. Just have clarity, have the vision. And that's what the 7-day challenge is going to help you really get clear about. And I'll serve you. Number three, we've talked about the mindset of playing to win. Those are the things that I'm telling you, my friend. I'm putting gold on the table, as John Maxwell says. I'm putting cookies on the bottom shelf. Like, you don't have to reach for them. The cookies are not in the top shelf. The cookies are in the bottom shelf. Come on, my 2-year-old can pull the drawer and get the cookies. The cookies are on the bottom shelf. Join me, and I'm glad to see you, that you joined me here today. Thank you so much. Before you go, subscribe for those who are on YouTube. For those who are on YouTube, don't leave. Subscribe, and then please grab this link from YouTube, from Facebook, and share it with somebody. Share it with somebody who's going to watch this. All right? It's been 40 minutes. My goodness, I could keep going on. I'm passionate about this. I'm so grateful for you joining us. I'm going to see you next Saturday. As we master our brilliance, manifest that brilliance, and monetize it, that brilliance. Kamoya Benjamin signing out, helping you reinvent yourself for impact and income. Thanks, be well, and bye for now.